Okay, we're gonna talk about our project that we started last time. It's gonna end up looking like this. We've just got a little loose leaf glued sketchbook, okay? So last time what we did is we took one of these papers, we cut it in half, Well, I guess we took a stack of them, right? So you cut it in half one way, you cut it in half this way, that whole stack. You stack them on top of each other, and then you've got the base of your book block. What we'll do then is we'll take our book press, you will open it up, make sure that you don't have any of the knobs inside in between. We want those two wood panels to go as close together as they can. You'll take your whole piece. I sometimes like clipping it together, or you can just hold it together, make sure that it's all in line, clip it. You're gonna set it into the press, leaving a little bit of space right there so that you don't end up gluing onto the press. Then you're going to spin these wing nuts to tighten it so it's really nice and tight in there. Then you'll take the book glue with the glue brush, and you're gonna tap the glue onto this. Take this off, right? You tap the glue on and spread it across, let it dry. Most of you have that done from last class. What you'll do then is, if it's really uneven, you'll take some sandpaper and you'll sand it down, then re-glue again, okay? Then you'll take each of the sections, you'll rotate, retighten, and you'll sand all of the other sides down to make sure that you've got a nice even edge. So even if you cut things not perfectly, you'll end up getting a nice even edge with sanding it down, just the paper, okay? So then you've got your book block, it's glued. I would suggest gluing this spine or the glued side of your book block a few times. Make sure it's nice and thick, at least 2 layers of glue on there. And that'll make sure that when you open your book up, you're not gonna have pages falling out. That just makes sure that it's really nice and set. I also put just a tiny bit of glue on the edge right here, as well as this whole back side on those 2 edges, just to make sure that it won't come apart, okay? So now we've got our book block. What we're gonna do next today, after you've sanded it all down, have a nice even book block, is our cover. Over in the cupboards, we've got a whole bunch of scrapbooking paper. You can pick whichever one you want. I'm gonna have this be my cover and this be my inside. So I'm gonna have my inside here. What you're gonna have to do first is you'll just line up your block right here. And you know that that's the edge, so I'm just gonna make a mark. Same thing on the other side. You line it up and you make a mark. That's how big or how tall it's gonna be, right? Now we need to know how wide it's gonna be. So you'll end up marking out, so line it back up at the beginning, you're gonna mark out where it ends. Then what we need to know is how wide your spine is. Now everyone's spine is probably different just because of how many papers you grabbed. So what you'll do is you'll just measure it out. Mine is just about 1/2 inch. So I'm gonna go with that. So when I just measured this out, I'm gonna go 1/2 inch. And then I'm gonna take that book block again from that 1/2 inch, and I'm going to measure to the end of it. And that's gonna be where everything lines up. So you've got your book block. I'm gonna do the same thing on the top. So I'm gonna line up my book block, measure that, measure the 1/2 inch from it, and then measure the book block one more time, lining it up with that new line I just made. So now what you can do is you can connect the dots. Right here, that was the end of my book block both times. And then that first time I measured it here and here, I'm just gonna go ahead and draw my line across, connecting those 2 dots. Now I know this is where I'm going to cut, but I also wanna know where I'm going to fold. So I'm just gonna do kind of a dotted line connecting those 2 inside parts where I'm gonna have my spine. I'm gonna fold that in. So then we'll go ahead and cut it out. Now you're just cutting out this part. You're not gonna cut out that 1/2 inch that you measured in between. what we're gonna do for that is we're gonna actually fold it. So I'll move that out of the way. So I know I need to fold it right there. Another way you can do it is you can measure a 1/2 inch right here and then fold it. I'm gonna just look for my line, make sure everything's lined up, and I'm gonna fold and crease. Grab a bone folder if you want to make sure that it's creased really well. That's one side. Then I've got to crease the other side as well. So I'll do the same thing, fold it back about a 1/2 inch, measure right on that line, and you're gonna fold it right where you measured that 1/2 inch or whatever yours is. It might be smaller than that, might be slightly bigger. So then I have that crease there, but this is the inside. I want it to be outside, so I'm gonna just refold it the other way. Again, using a bone folder would be preferred here, just to make sure your crease lines are really solid. Okay, now all the pencil lines I have are on the inside and not the outside. So now that I've got that done, I am ready to glue it into my actual book block. So I've got this, I've got the glue on, I've sanded it down, it's really nice and ready to go. I'm going to put some glue on the spine and then I will line it up and glue the spine in. So let's go ahead and do that. Take some of the glue. I'm gonna put glue on my block here. So another layer of glue on that spine. The more layers of glue, the better it is, just to make sure that will stick. Good solid amount of glue there. Then I'm gonna just line that dotted line that I drew along with this right here, making sure that I've got it centered. Then I'm gonna take this block, or the outside, the cover, and I'm gonna fold it up and make sure that I've got it folded well and right along there. Then I'm just gonna take my bone folder and make sure that I've got it really solid. So from the center out, you're just gonna press, make sure that the glue is pressing into that spine, okay? Then what you're gonna do is you'll take some wax paper. You're going to take this outside cover and you're gonna put the wax paper in about a 1/2 inch inside. We're gonna take some of that glue. Let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. There we go. So about a 1/2 inch here. With the wax paper, you're gonna take some glue and just glue down that first page with your cover page. So I'm gonna put some glue down. The wax paper just helps make sure it's a nice straight line, so I'm gonna take that out. And then you'll close this in. Use your bone folder to solidify that. And that's just gonna help solidify your book block in to the whole thing. Most paperback books, you'll have that first page glued to your cover. So I'm gonna have that glued together there. You'll do the same thing on the back side, so you flip it over, add in that piece of wax paper so you can get that nice solid line. Then you move it, set down your cover again, and bone fold it. Then you've got your book pretty much done. We've got one last step here that we're going to do. I'm just gonna make sure that this is glued in properly. Yep, so I've got that first page right here glued in now. You can see that it's glued in, and then it'll open up there, okay? Then I got my same thing on the back. That page is just glued in about a 1/2 inch to my actual book block right there. Okay. So from here, what we're going to do is make kind of a nice sealed cover. Since this is just a piece of scrapbooking paper, it's not 100% solid and waterproof or tear-proof or anything like that. So we're gonna help that out there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take another piece of wax paper, maybe not that same one just because we don't wanna accidentally get anything on it. I'm gonna take my wax paper, put it underneath and inside. I took it inside the second page, just since we just glued that first page in, okay? Then I'm gonna take some Mod Podge. Now that's different than the book binding glue. The book glue that's in this bucket is specific PVA glue that binds books together. We're gonna just use the Mod Podge, which is kind of a sealant. So I'm gonna just pour a little bit out here of the Mod Podge. That's probably more than I need, but that's okay. And then we'll take a sponge brush, and you don't want very much at all, just enough, whoop, just enough to seal it. I just dropped that upside down. Oh well. Mod Podge can be used as glue as well as a sealer and a finisher. So I'm just gonna take some Mod Podge and start sealing this paper to make it a little bit stronger for it being the cover. So you're just gonna brush this Mod Podge on to the cover, using that wax paper so you don't actually accidentally glue the pages together. Just a nice light layer of Mod Podge. I'm just trying to spread it out a little bit. You can tell if you got enough Mod Podge on by just wiggling it a little bit, tilting it in the light so you can see some reflection. Then you know you've got it everywhere you want it. You'll do the same thing on the spine, so a little bit of Mod Podge on that spine to protect those creases. Then before you do the other side, you'll want to wait and let this side dry. You can use the hair dryer and let it dry, or just let it air dry, okay? Then you do the same thing, you'll flip it over. You'll put in that piece of wax paper inside and Mod Podge this side. Then you'll have your finished book that is sealed with the Mod Podge with those covers, and you'll have that whole inside with those nice clean pages. So please check in if you have questions, but hopefully this was a good explanation. Go back if you have questions, ask a neighbor. Ms. Hamblin will be there to help as well, and then I'll be back next class to help finish it up if you need. So there you go.